everyone, welcome back again. Today I'm back with Dominion 6 and taking a look at one of the most unique nations in the game, that being Middle Age Ind. And this is a kind of test game I was playing before as Ind. I'll talk a bit more about this game in a minute, but you can see things are going quite well. I'm able to expand all around this little donut here. It's not too late in the game. It's about the end of year 2 right now. It's going to be starting year 3 pretty soon. But things are going pretty well for me, and also my god just woke up. Heretic spotted you, and I'll talk more about this god design as well. This is one of the designs I highlight in when I talk about the god design options later. But basically this god focuses on getting a wide range of different paths, as well as also improving my luck scales, and also getting me access to underwater provinces maybe later in the game as well. And of course bringing fortune, which is good. But you can see in my scales here, I went with high turmoil, high luck. And Ind is a nation where you're kind of incentivized to go turmoil, mostly because of some features of their dominion, especially their capital, but I'll talk about that later. I went with high turmoil, high luck, and generally pretty good scales all around. I just went fairly low magic because I have really good researchers anyways. I felt I could sacrifice the magic a little bit. But we'll come back to this game in a little while. I'm currently pursuing a war with Marignon, which I'm about to win very soon. And I'll talk about my strategy with dealing with Marignon a little bit later, as well as Tianqi, who's kind of falling apart at the moment, though I did lose one of my armies here to one of their armies. I only have this one on their capital, so hopefully this can work out. We'll see how well that goes. Either way, I'll come back to this game in a minute, but let's talk about the nation of Ind before we continue with this game. Now, Middle Age Ind, the magnificent kingdom of exalted virtue, is a nation that's based on a lot of medieval myths about some mysterious Christian kingdom off in the Far East or in the South in Africa somewhere. There's a lot of stories about Prester John and his kind of kingdom among the barbarians in some mysterious land. Of course, the most common idea people have is that they're speaking of Ethiopia, but it's really just kind of a medieval fantasy. There's a lot of like magical creatures and little people, dog-headed men, and all kinds of strange things that are supposed to live in Prester John's kingdom. And generally, these are just myths that a lot of medieval Christians had about the Far East or the Far South or whatever. These kind of strange foreign lands. And Prester John is basically the epitome of kind of like a good king, a good like foreign king, but in an evil, strange land of sorts. And this is kind of what the imagery of Middle Age Ind is as well. It's a very funny nation, very strange. A lot of people really like this nation. I'm actually a fan of it too, but I've not really played it much, mostly because it's very intensive when you're playing this game, and when you're playing as this nation, especially in late game, with how many things you have to pay attention to, and how many things that are just constantly you have to worry about. I guess you don't really have to worry about everything, but because it has so many options available, it really is, it can get a bit out of hand sometimes, I find, when I'm playing. I really see Ind as almost like the Swiss Army knife of nations, where you have so many tools available, and you really want to use all of them, but most of the time, you're not going to be using most of them, or you shouldn't be using them, and a lot of the tools are either kind of useless or very, very situational. Now, what do I mean when I call it a Swiss Army knife nation? You have everything from pretty standard like units you might find in some other more generic nations, as in even just like Indies. You have troops that are basically a little better than just Indie crossbows, Indie cavalry. You have strange kind of like what can I call this? Like bearded ladies, ultra muscled bearded ladies who can summon very powerful lion free spawn. You have these dog-headed, powerful troops who are probably your absolute best warriors available, and also your main access to high death and high blood, which are also very useful for you as a nation. You have all kinds of different angels and other kind of angelic beings. You have the cannibal tribes and the priests who lead them. And you also have some horrible evil giants. And then you're also your high priests who can summon a lot of magical power and are kind of the main magical backbone of your nation. So you have all these tools available for you, and the sad fact is that a lot of these are just not useful in most games, or are so situational that you'll probably won't use them and if you do, it'll be in a very limited capacity. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Still, I don't think this nation is as confused as some people say it is. I hear a lot of people say that this is a very confused nation that seems to go against itself, and I really disagree. I think Ind is one of the best designed nations in Dominions, and one of the most interesting thematically, compared to a lot of very boring nations that are just like, I don't know, not very inspired. I think Ind is extremely inspired and really, really fun to play, really interesting as a nation, and there's a lot of just like funny features that I would expect from Dominions, to be honest. I would say this up there with like nations like Satis or Middle Age Urmor or a lot of these other really iconic nations is one of the kind of best examples of Dominions as a game. So let's talk about the nation a little bit. Before I'm going to talk about anything related to troops or whatever like that, I want to talk about the unique features of Ind's capital as well as their dominion. So Ind has a lot of sites in its capital. It has the Sublime Palace, the Fountain of Youth, the Great Mirror, and the Onyx Court. Now, what makes all of these different from each other? First of all, the Sublime Palace, there's not too much about it. It does give a few gems, which is nice. The main thing special about this is it prevents the order level in your capital from ever going below 3. So it can go higher. In Dominion 6, you can get higher than 3, but it can never go lower. So that's a very unique thing that can happen for Ind, meaning that you can kind of afford to take lower order or even into Turmoil, even like as I did in my game, Turmoil 3, but your capital will always be 3 order, meaning you will always get maximum recruitment there. You will never have any of the kind of bad events associated with Turmoil and so on. So you're always kind of guaranteed a good capital, which is really, really excellent. And it does give you a lot more flexibility, considering how important your capital is, since a lot of your best troops and a lot of your mages are going to come from your capital only. That really gives Ind a lot of flexibility. And I would say the big defining feature of this nation is flexibility. Fountain of Youth, there's not too much to say about it. It's kind of more just there for lore reasons, but it does have the age rate reduction. It basically means that any of your old mages are not actually going to be old, like they're going to be basically like considered young. So it really doesn't have much effect on the game itself. It really only comes to play when you start getting some age mechanics, maybe like some spells that cause everybody to age or something like that, like Burden of Time or something like that. These might be less effective against you because you have the Fountain of Youth in your capital, but they are still going to hurt. It just gives you a little bit more leeway in these very niche circumstances. The Great Mirror is a scrying ability. Any mage who goes in here, any astral mage, I believe, will be able to go in and scry for a few provinces. Now, this is useful mostly in the early game, I would say, when you might want to recruit a mage or so. Usually you start with one astral mage anyways, but you can have him scry to kind of scout around. You don't start with a scout as Ind, so this can be useful to scout the province and get perfectly accurate details about what kind of troops are there and so on. So you may want to consider that when you're just starting. When you move an army into a province, you can scry that province and get a very good, accurate image of what's actually there, so you don't walk into what you thought was a small, weak army and turns out there's tons of knights there or something like that. So this is pretty useful, I think, more so in the early game. Late game, the range is not really enough to be that useful, but I still think it does have its uses for scouting kind of nearby your capital. Maybe if you're getting raided or something, you can scout around if they're stealthy or whatever. So I do think it is useful. It just, it's most useful in the early game, I think. Last one's the Onyx Court, which I think is really underrated. This allows your troops to go in here and train, and they will get an XP bonus. So basically, while you're recruiting troops in your capital and they're just sitting there kind of doing nothing for a few turns until you get like an army ready to go, you can have them sit there and just train and gain XP. So by the time they leave, they might already be like upgraded a little bit in terms of their XP level versus just a total fresh troop. So this is actually quite useful, and I definitely forget to use it sometimes, but it's something you really, really should think about when you're playing, because having a few extra XP really makes a lot of difference. Anyone who uses the Heroism Bless will know this as well. Now, as for the Dominion, your Dominion has a conflict bonus of -2, which sounds quite bad. It means you are going to generally lose in a Dominion conflict against most other nations. Also, only level 3 priests can become prophets. The thing that doesn't really make this too bad is that basically you have tons and tons of level 3 priests available. You could recruit level 3 priests in basically every province with a temple, including off-cap forts and in your capital as well. So getting level 3 priests is not even an issue, and they get the special Prester King form, which is upgraded, has some different stats, and also is, of course, level 4 priest, which with working together in a communion, I should say, you can upgrade him easily to level 5 and cast some really crazy holy spells. Here's the Prester King here. Again, he has a few paths available, one astral, and then a few random paths of fire, earth, I believe astral, and nature, which are kind of like your national paths for all your normal units, aside from the off-cap ones. So he's pretty good. Again, it's just like a special kind of unit just for the prophet only. So it's mostly for lore reasons to have the Prester King, but it is kind of cool that this happens. Next is every new temple you build adds +1 to your sacred recruitment limit. So one thing that maybe a lot of people are not that aware of is, and for any nation, building 5 temples, I believe, will increase your sacred or holy recruitment limit by 1. So if I'm playing a nation like Mictlan, who also is making use of a lot of sacreds, and I build 5 temples across my empire, I will be able to recruit 1 more sacred unit per turn from every fort that can recruit them. So that's good already. But with Ind, it's +1 for every temple, and your temples are much cheaper than other nations as well. They're only 300 gold. That's really cheap. I don't think they've even increased in price since Dominions 5. I think they're quite cheap as well. So temples are really cheap for you to build, and you're really incentivized to build them everywhere, because not only do they improve your holy recruitment, which is really important for you, you're also going to allow you to recruit the special kind of holy 3 units in basically any province. So that's a big part of your strategy, and really, as soon as you get some money, you should be building temples. And again, something I kind of forget sometimes too, but it's definitely something you should try to force yourself to remember. Build temples everywhere, because it only benefits you. Lastly is your dominion hides the province name and the ownership unless it's scouted. So it makes it very hard for enemies to know exactly what's going on and how big your empire is. It can be good usually, however, it can also be annoying when someone accidentally walks into your province. But it is usually pretty useful to kind of obfuscate your empire and what's going on a little bit, so that's kind of nice as well. Now let's talk about your capital only units. Now the unique thing about your capital units is all of them are sacred. Every single thing coming out of your capital is sacred for Ind. All of your units are also all not only sacred, but they're also auto-blessed. In Ind, every man is a priest, so every single unit is a priest, and he can bless himself. So they auto-bless as soon as the turn starts, which is really, really useful and powerful, that you don't have to bless them. You can just recruit as many as you want, and then have whatever bless you want, and then they will just bless themselves. So that can enable a lot of really crazy strategies. Though, saying that, I find Ind's troop units are not that powerful. They're basically just good heavy infantry. Like, that's about it. They're just kind of like good human infantry. There's nothing that special about them, that unique. Just the fact that they're sacred makes them better, like pretty good, makes them better than just like okay. And the fact that you can load whatever kind of bless on them, you can do some really funny, crazy stuff with these guys. Also, one thing, all these other ones are pretty easy to understand. The Soldier Priest and Mirror Guard are just kind of direct upgrades of each other. The Archer Priest is again a holy archer, though a short bow is not that useful. I really wouldn't go for an Archer Bless with this nation. Some people are tempted to. Everybody who wants like to play an Archer nation, everybody loves Archer Blesses because they seem cool when you think about it, that you can shoot arrows and get some special effect. But for Ind, I would say don't even bother with them that much, because short bows are just not that effective. In Middle Age, they're kind of falling off, and focusing a bless on archers is not really going to benefit anyone else, and it's just kind of a waste, I think. We'll talk about blesses later, but I think the best thing that benefits archers in all your units is something like magic weapons, and also just some generic buffs and stuff like that. We'll talk about that later. And as I said, the backlit is a standard, so that's kind of nice as well, that you get a bit of a morale boost for your troops. Now let's talk about the capital commanders. Now all of these are capital only, means you can only get them in your capital. The Bishop General and the Archbishop Marshal are just your kind of generic leaders. The only difference from any other nation is that they're both holy 2 priests. So that's kind of nice. Like as I said, everything Ind has is holy. Everything Ind has has holy magic, and at least holy 2. You are like the premier holy magic nation in the whole game. So you have no shortage of priests available. So both these guys are priests. Both these guys lead sacred units and are army leaders. The Primate King is kind of like your big army leader. He can lead big armies. He also has a little bit of magic as well, and he's holy 3, but he's slow to recruit, so I tend not to get that many of them. I only get them when I really need like a big army leader, and that's about it. You can get holy 3 priests like in every single province anyways, so I don't really see any reason to specifically recruit that guy unless I really want, like, again, a big army. For the Abbot Magus and the Abbot Magus Supreme, but I was thinking the Abbot Magus Supreme, he's like the Taco Bell Beef Supreme or something like that. But either way, that's kind of irrelevant. But either way, these guys are both kind of the same. The only difference is the Abbot Magus has a bit higher magic paths and he's slow to recruit. Generally, I try to recruit the Abbot Magus as much as possible over the Abbot Magus Supreme. Sorry, I'd recruit the Abbot Magus Supreme over the Abbot Magus as much as possible. But, you know, whenever you have money available, you can swap between them. If you just need a quick mage, maybe the Abbot Magus is a bit better, but generally the Abbot Magus Supreme is what you should be trying to get every turn, if possible. Looking at them, let's take a look at just the mages. Like I said, the two, the Marshal and the Archbishop, the Bishop and the Archbishop are just kind of army leaders. The only thing special about them is they're holy 2. These are your 3 capital mages. The Primate King, he has some pretty limited paths. He has astral as well as fire, water, earth, and nature, and these are kind of your national paths as Ind. Especially astral. You're a big astral nation, and really you should be playing Ind as an astral nation, though you do have a lot of secret weapons available, like your very strong blood economy as you go on. The Abbot Magus and the Abbot Magus Supreme are kind of like the same. They both have fire, earth, and astral, as well as holy 2. The only difference is the Abbot Magus Supreme is astral 3 at start, and he also has a few random chances to get fire, water, earth, and nature. So this guy can do a lot of magic. They're both really excellent researchers as well. You can see Adept Researcher 2, Adept Researcher 4, and also really high innate research as well. Last major one I mentioned, this one is not capital only. You can get him in your capital, but you can also get him in any other fort as well. And this is kind of your go-to small mage as well as researcher. He is Adept Researcher as well. He's fairly cheap. 150 gold is like okay, you know. But, you know, he's an Adept Researcher. He's a really good researcher. He's a Holy 2 as well, and an Astral 1, which is kind of the best path you can have for a level 1 path mage, because you can kit these guys communions. So you can make some nice little communions with these guys and some of the Abbot Maguses as well. But this is the kind of guy you're going to be recruiting most of the time in most of your forts, just because he's a decent little mage and he's a good researcher. Next, talk about the non-fort recruits. So these guys you can get in any province with the right infrastructure. Some of them you can also get in forted provinces, but some of them are only in non-fort provinces. I'll talk about that in a minute. First, you have the Viceroy Primate and the Bishop Viscount. These two you can get in any province with a temple, fort or no fort. Outside your capital, that is. So these are both pretty useful. The Bishop Viscount is just a Holy 2 kind of army leaders. And the Viceroy Primate is a Holy 3 recruit anywhere army leader. And there's not too much special about them aside from the fact that the Viceroy is Holy 3, so you really should be getting the Viceroy more often than the Bishop. I don't know what reason you get the other one for, maybe if you just want a quick Holy army leader, I guess. But usually getting the Viceroy Primate is a lot better because he's just Holy 3. You also have the Cannibal Shaman Chief and the Cannibal Warlord. Now, these two, not much to say about them. The Cannibal Warlord is just like a generic kind of little army leader. He's useful for, I don't know, random tasks you might have. Now, the Cannibal Shaman Chief, however, he is your go-to blood hunter. He can recruit anywhere at the temple. All you need is a temple in any province, and you can start recruiting him to blood hunt. He's an innate blood 1, and he has these paths for maybe blood 2, maybe blood nature, blood death, blood astral, and all these paths are really, really great combined with blood because they allow you to have a lot of different summons available. So this guy's really, really useful. You should get this guy as soon as possible to start building up a bit of a blood economy. And this guy's a pretty good blood hunter. He does cause unrest and he's a heretic. So you should accompany him with either a lot of patrolling units or a few Viceroy Primates. Viceroy Primate has decrease unrest ability, as does the Bishop. So both these guys will decrease unrest. So you can build these guys in whatever province you're blood hunting in to kind of keep everybody calm, you know, while you're kidnapping their virgin daughters and sacrificing them to the dark gods. Now, one unique ability of the Viceroy Primate and the Bishop Viscount is this Lord over Heathen Tribes. Now, this basically allows you to summon free spawn from any province, and the free spawn you get kind of depends on the terrain, but usually they're pretty weak little cannibal units. So you can mobilize cannibal free spawn. The type and quality depends on the terrain. Some terrain types give better free spawn than others. And your turmoil scales increase cannibal recruitment. So high turmoil means more cannibals. These are all the cannibals you can get. In any province, you can get the Aznash Archer and the Cannibal Warrior, who are both pretty crap. In mountains or highlands, you can get the Agri Mandri Warrior, who's a little bit better. In forests, you get the Fomenpori Warrior, who has 2 weapons, and Berserk, which is pretty good. I'd say this guy's your best one, because having a level 3 Berserker with 2 weapon attacks is pretty nice. This guy's really weak anyways, but at least Berserk means he won't run away, and he'll just run in and chop up a lot of things and die. So that's quite good. The last one is the Vintifole Horseman, who you can get in mountains and or plains, and you're not really guaranteed to get these guys in these areas. For example, I have a fort in, sorry, not a fort, but I have a few bishops mobilizing heathens in some mountain province, and I'm getting a mix of horses as well as just cannibal warriors. So you kind of get a mix of these guys. You're not guaranteed to get any of these special ones. You always kind of get a mix of your generic ones plus some of these better ones. These 3 at the bottom are a little bit better. In terms of how useful this is, I don't really know. I do like to go Turmoil, not really because I actually like the free spawn. I don't really use the free spawn that much because they're just kind of bad. They're not really that good. They're free, but they cost upkeep, they cause unrest, and they're just like a little bit annoying to deal with. You also don't recruit that many. Even with max Turmoil, you're not going to get that many free spawn. You have to have a lot of priests out there mobilizing heathens. I mean, the unrest is going to raise and you won't be able to mobilize them anymore. It's just like a lot of hassle for something that's not really that great, to be honest. So I don't tend to use these too much. They're nice sometimes when you want a few extra units, just throw in there as like some chaff. But you have so much better chaff available as in, so I don't know if this is really that useful. I usually do go Turmoil, but not because of this. Now let's talk about the Vassals of Ind. Now, Ind has a lot of unique troops available to it. You have the Cynocephalians, you have the Little Men of Piccione, you have the Men of Great Orion, you have the Ladies of Great Feminine, and the Giants of the Lost Tribe. Now, these are the only troops you will get in your non-capital forts, and which ones you get depends on the terrain. So Cynocephalians you usually get in, 100% of the time you will get them in cave provinces, as well as highland provinces, and sometimes in mountains. It kind of depends. For the Little Men of Piccione, about half the time you'll get them in plains and like farmlands. The Men of Great Orient, you'll get them always in forest provinces. The Ladies of Great Feminine, again, half the time you'll get in plains or farm provinces. And the Giants you will get in any wasteland province. So if you build a fort in any of these kind of provinces, you will definitely get one of these guys, depending on the province. You know, some of them are a little bit varied, but usually you'll get one of these guys, and definitely some are better than others. The Cynocephalians and the Men of Great Orient are definitely your best options. The Ladies of the Great Feminine are good, just nothing really special about them. And the Little Men of Piccione and the Giants of the Lost Tribe are pretty bad. So I would kind of avoid these two. Out of these two, I would say the Giants do have a little bit of a niche use in that they do offer you your easiest path to getting level 2 Earth, which is pretty common. You can also kind of teleport the level 2 Astral guys. We'll talk more about these guys later. Basically, these guys are no good because they have homesickness, which kind of makes them totally useless, even though they would be excellent units otherwise. Homesickness means every single turn they're away from their home province, they will lose health. And in this case, you're going to lose 30% of your health every single turn they're away from home. So basically they just die in 3 turns, and they're really, really weak after even like 1 or 2 turns. So they're really not that useful except for like very local defensive use. and maybe teleporting the commanders around. If you get a few astral commanders, you can give them like a crystal coin or a coin of meteoric iron, whatever it's called, and you can teleport them around to be like kind of, I don't know, a shock thug of sorts. But I think that's a lot of investment for something that's going to basically die very quickly. So I don't know about these guys. I do kind of like them because they're cool. I do have one for making these guys just because I like these kind of Hinnom units like this. The Anakites and stuff like that. I think they're very cool, but they're really not useful. And the little Menipigoni are just kind of weak. They have no magic paths. They have one Earth, which is just useless, and their troops are not very good. So they're really not great. And they also kind of alternate with Ladies of Great Feminine, who are actually pretty good, just generic troops. There's just nothing really special about them. The annoying thing is that you either get one or the other. So it's like, sometimes you'll build a fort in like a plain or farm, and you'll get little Menipigoni, and you're kind of just stuck with the shitty province. Let's talk about the Cynocephalians first. These are your absolute best troops, and these guys are so good. Your early game should really be focused on finding a cave or finding a Highlands province as soon as possible, building a fort there. And this is so crucial for Ind. I would even recommend going to war with another nation right at the beginning of the game if they have a Highland province or a cave that's near you and you just can't get any other one. Like, it's so vital for you that I would just sacrifice your game for that, because it's really, really important to get those provinces. These guys are so good. They enable so much of your strategy. They're excellent blood hunters. The Magog Bitch Mother starts with blood 2, death 1, and nature 1 with possibility for death 2, nature 2, or blood 3 as well. She's an okay research as well. And there's a lot of other things going for her as well. But the main useful thing about these ones, aside from the magic paths of the Bitch Mother, which are really useful, they can do a lot of useful things. Like a lot of your blood summons are going to come from this one. A lot of your death magic is going to come from this as well. Another thing useful about them is some of their stats. For example, the Magog Bitch Mother is stealthy. So she could be a stealthy army leader and leading these Magog Flesh Hunters. I wanted to highlight this troop specifically. You have the Gog Raiders, who are also the Gog Reavers, who are better as a troop, but they're not stealthy. I would use those when you don't really care about being stealthy because they have multiple attacks. All the Cynocephalian troops are really good, but the Gog Reavers are your generally best troop. But these guys are kind of your second best, and also they're stealthy, so they're really useful like that. So stealthy is good. Another thing useful about being stealthy is they have the increased unrest and then heretic on the commanders, heretic 2. Now, one thing I've heard people say about Ind, which I don't really agree with, is that Ind is a very confused nation, and I mentioned that at the very beginning. And this is one of the reasons why people say that, because they see all the holy magic, they see the order focus, and things like that, which really want you to have high order, and also a lot of things which you need to pay a lot of money for, which again, you kind of want high order for having a lot of money. But they also see all these units which cause unrest and have heretic, which are going to not only destroy your dominion when your dominion is already like 2 times weaker to conflict. It's going to cause all this unrest in your provinces, and you're going to be blood hunting, and you're going to be mobilizing heathens. It just like decimates your provinces. But I really disagree with that, to be honest. I don't think of it as the nation being confused. I think of it as having these tools which can be used in very specific ways. For example, with the Magog Bitch Mother, having heretic doesn't mean that you're going to be losing your dominion in your provinces so much as you can use her to control dominion. You have so many level 3 priests available that you can basically combine those with all your available heretics to have absolute total control of the level of your dominion in each individual province, if you want a province to have your dominion or not. And of course, in your enemy provinces, if I want to increase my dominion in an enemy province, it's so easy because I have so many level 3 priests. I have so many ways to increase my dominion available, and a lot of even my heroes will have a dominion spreading ability. And I also have these heretics, which can obviously take away dominion in enemy provinces. And when I come back to my test game, I'm going to show you what's going on with Marignon. I mentioned I'm at a war with them at the moment, and I'm hoping to just win a dominion victory against them, where I just totally snuff out their dominion entirely, and their nation just dies. So that's one way that you can win in dominions, is by totally destroying the dominion of the enemy god. It basically allows you to instantly win the game, and Ind is one of the best nations, aside from a few like Mictlan, which can use human sacrifices to control their dominion as well. Ind is another nation which has really, really strong control of their own dominion to be able to expand it or contract it at will, basically. So really, you should make use of that and try to learn how to actually use your Dominion in a useful way. Think of all the features you have, the fact that your Dominion can hide provinces, the fact that it can hide ownership, the fact that you can kind of put it anywhere you want and really make use of it, and even use it as a weapon, or use the heresy as a weapon. It can be really, really powerful, and I think people underestimate that a lot as Ind. In games I've played against Ind players, I don't think I've ever seen them really, really make use of that Dominion control ability to any significant degree. I've just not seen it much. I've seen a lot of blood focus. A lot of Ind players tend to just go for blood and become a blood nation, and that's kind of like what I see a lot. Even for me, when I've played Ind before, I tend to play it as a really astral heavy nation, but I am trying to really get into the Dominion control because it is so powerful. So yeah, these things are useful, and of course Increase Unrest is great because these are stealthy. You can have them kind of raiding enemy provinces, just hiding there, increasing unrest and causing all kinds of problems. And another thing I didn't highlight here is they both have dark vision, and actually all of your Cynocephalian troops have dark vision, which is excellent because Ind has a really, really easy time casting the spell Eclipse, which causes darkness on the battlefield. So one commander casting Eclipse, and then all your Cynocephalians running in and just tearing the enemy apart is really, really brutal as a strategy. Next, the Men of Great Orient is the other kind of vassal I want to highlight. They have a few interesting things available. First of all, the Great Huntress. This one is a very confusing kind of unit. This is a female. Does she have female? Yeah, she has the female stat, but she's also got a big beard and huge muscles. So she's the kind of female who votes Democrat, you know? But either way, she is a beast summoner, so she can summon these lines of many colors. And these lines are pretty decent chaff, I guess. I don't know if they're that valuable where you really want to lean on them, but I think it's okay to get a couple Great Huntresses. I've seen some people argue like, oh, well, you're missing the opportunity cost, but whatever. Like, I get it that you, instead of getting a Great Huntress, you can get another researcher, and that researcher is going to research, which will be valuable the whole game. But I mean, come on, you know, you got to have a little bit of fun. And this is kind of a fun little gimmick thing. You get a couple Great Huntresses just summoning lions, and then get a small group of lions to go fight. They're pretty good as chaff, I think. They're not all the same. The red lion has more health and strength, I believe. The black and green lions are both stealthy, and also they have higher stats like attack and defense skill. And the blue lion is your only one that's disciplined. All the other ones are undisciplined, so they'll just run in and do whatever. The blue lion will get formations and follow orders. So they all have their own uses. I actually quite like the stealthy ones because you can pair them up with the Cynocephalian stealthy units to have a few kind of like, I don't know, attack dogs, but in this case attack lions. But actually I kind of like the lions. I think they're funny and they're cool, and they make nice little animal chaff. The next one I want to highlight is the Orient King. Now, there's nothing really special about him. He's just a generic leader. The main thing is he's a taskmaster. And one thing unique about Orient is they have tons of slave troops available. So this is another good option for you to fill out your armies a little bit more. Recruiting tons of Orient's slave troops, specifically the Centaur slaves, who are a much better archer unit than your sacred short bows. They have a long bow, and they're pretty decent. And also, again, they're stealthy, so you can pair these up with your stealthy commanders as well, if you really want to, though they are slaves, so they do need someone with Taskmaster to lead them around. However, it's really easy just to give like a Magog bitch mother a whip. What is it? Whip of Command, I think. That will allow her to lead slaves and get Taskmaster ability. So that can be really useful as well to build some pretty decent stealthy raiding parties. I think as Ind, you have a lot of potential to be almost like an elf nation without any elves, just putting together all these other little things you have to make something useful. And that's kind of coming back to what I said about Ind being the Swiss Army knife nation. You have so many little tools available, and they can be useful in ways you don't always think of. Another really useful unit is the Centaur Charioteer. This is also a slave unit, and he has a trample ability, so you have this pretty useful and fairly cheap trampler available that you can recruit and kind of throw into battles where the enemy doesn't expect. And again, it's just another little tool available you can throw in there, and you know, when your enemy is not expecting a bunch of trampling chariots to come at them, they could be really, really shocking and totally destroy their strategy. So again, try to make use of these little tricks. Ind's all about being tricky, so doing these kind of things to trick your enemy can be really kind of funny. Another really useful unit, and probably the one you're going to be recruiting the most of, is the crossbowmen. Crossbowmen are not that common in Middle Age, so the fact that you do have one available, like easily to recruit in any forest fort, is excellent. You can get tons of these guys and really make your armies very powerful because crossbows are just so good. Meanwhile, most other nations don't even have crossbows, and indie crossbows are pretty rare in Middle Age, so it's going to be very uncommon for people to counter your crossbows. So between the crossbowmen and the slave longbowmen, I think you have a lot of range power that maybe people don't think of, and the fact that your mages can really easily cast things like flaming arrows or even like poison arrows or all kinds of things you can cast with on the arrows themselves. You can really turn yourself into a very scary force with a huge amount of archers with some kind of buffing spell on them. Next, let's talk about some of your summons. There's a few summons available. They're all like various types of angels or like magical kind of beings. I really want to talk about 3 of them only though. First of all is the Hashmal and the Malak, I think. These are probably your 2 best summons in that they're both very cheap. They both come fairly early. The Malak, it comes at Conjuration 4. The Hashmal comes at Conjuration 6. And they're both pretty decent thug units. Now, they don't have any magic paths aside from Holy. The Malak is Holy 1. The Hashmal is Holy 2. They're both sacred, which is good, so you can benefit from your Bless. And they're both fairly similar. The Malak is a lot weaker. The best thing about this one is that it's stealthy, so you can use it as, again, kind of a raiding unit, stealthy raiding unit. It does need a little bit of gear to make it viable, but you don't need that much, and suddenly this unit can be very destructive. One thing I think is really useful on the Malak specifically is something like lifelong protection or other kind of items that give it a small retinue of units to accompany it, because then you could send this guy in battle with a little bit of armor and some weapons, as well as a little group of imps or something guarding him, and suddenly he can be a nice little raiding party just on his own. Like this guy on his own with his little group with him and a few weapons and stuff can make pretty quick work of most fairly undefended provinces. So this is quite nice. And again, you can, because they can fly and fly around the map pretty easily and they're stealthy, you can easily bring all these little raiders back to your big army when you want to do a big battle, and then suddenly have a lot of support in your battle as well. The Hashmal is just basically a direct upgrade over the Malak. Not much else different aside from the bigger Awe and then the Fire Shield, though you do lose the stealth ability, which is unfortunate, but you do also get a better attack in terms of the Flame Strike, which is a ranged attack, and also this is ethereal, so you are a little bit harder to hit in that way. You have this Inquisitor ability, which again comes back to having that Dominion control, as in taking away enemy Dominion from your provinces. So again, a lot of Ind's focus comes back to controlling your Dominion, or controlling the spread or the lack of spread of your Dominion. So this is really useful for that as well. And you can also fly around too, so it's very good. The one thing about the Hashmal is you really don't need much gear to make this guy useful. I mean, he doesn't have many body parts anyways, but you don't need that much. Like, he's already quite well protected by invulnerability and by his fire shield. So this guy's kind of like ready to go right out the box, while the Malak does need a little bit of gear. But at least he has a full body, so you can give him lots of gear, which kind of makes him a little bit better in my opinion. I'd rather have all of the slots available for gear rather than something that's pretty good. But, you know, it's whatever. You know, it's a lot more investment to gear the Malak up than just getting a Hashmal and sending him out there to do whatever. The last angel I want to talk about is the Arel. This one is really useful. She's got pretty decent magic paths. She is a little bit expensive, and she comes at Conjuration 7, which is pretty late in the game, but she does have very good stats, and she also has Healer, so this could be a great option for enabling some strategies, for example, like mind hunting, to cure the feeble-mindedness of your mages if they get their minds burnt out or something like that. So this can also enable a lot of other strategies or whatever else you want to do that might involve your mages or your troops getting wounded in some way, so that's really nice. And this could also be quite a good, even like heavy thug unit. She's very powerful. She has high awe, she has invulnerability, she has obviously healing ability, and a lot of resists as well. And Nature 3 is okay as a path. I would say it's not as better as like Fire or Death or something, but it's not too bad. You can do a lot of things with it. You can do things like Creeping Doom or Howl or whatever to get a ton of units helping you. So I think she can make a very good heavy thug unit as well. And also she has all full slots, so she can have a lot of gear too. Moving on from there, you also have the Release Lords of Civilization. Now, this is a blood spell, but it's absolutely something you should consider once you get into the late game. It is blood 9, but honestly, 177 blood slaves is like trivial, to be honest, by that point in the game, and like early on in the game as well. Getting blood slaves is so easy, and all of these guys are just so powerful that I would honestly say these are like a game over kind of unit, to be honest. Like these guys are so good that if I was using Wish, I would wish for one of these guys. These guys are like some of the best units in the whole game. And as I said, having 1 or 2 of these guys is like already kind of game over a little bit for everybody else. Like it's just so powerful. This is like an end game kind of strategy, just going for the Lords of Civilization. So these guys are really, really powerful. They're all very different. They all have their own kind of stats, but they're all excellent. They all have amazing kind of stats and great, very useful magic paths, all being blood mages as well. Like these guys, like I said, they're an end game in themselves. So it's definitely worth to go for high blood to get these guys. Now, let's talk about god design, specifically going order or turmoil. I've heard a lot of arguments for both. When it comes to order, it really does help maximize your income and helps with the high and rest, which Ind often has to deal with a lot. So those are both pretty useful things. The main thing about going order Ind is the income, because you do have a lot of things you need to spend money on. Ind is always like cash strapped, I find. You're always having so many things you want to spend money on, and it's hard to like choose which is which. Having just more income avoids making those difficult choices because you just have a lot of money available. However, going high turmoil also has its own benefits. For example, your cap is always order 3, so you're always guaranteed to have an order 3 capital, which is great because capital is where you're getting a lot of your units from and a lot of your most useful units. It can maximize your free spawn. Now, I don't really care about this that much because the free spawn are not really that great and I don't really use them much, but they're there. And if you want them to be useful at all, I think you do have to go turmoil, because order Ind, you're getting like so few free spawn, it's not even worth it at all. At least with turmoil, you're getting like some free spawn, so at least it's like something. But again, I don't use the free spawn too much, but again, it is a nice little bonus of going turmoil. The main reason I go turmoil, honestly, is for the design points. Because I can dump turmoil, I can use those points for other things like getting a better bless or getting higher scales in other areas. I also think it pairs quite well with luck. And actually the god I went with max luck and max turmoil. So level 3 luck and level 3 turmoil, because I think that pairs together quite well, because you do have the income problems of high turmoil, but luck will give you a lot of events where you get like free gold and also free gems and stuff as well, and free labs and all kinds of things. So having the luck and turmoil is really good. It increases the number of events and it maximizes the number of good events. So all those things will often give you a lot of free gold, a lot of free gems, and those are all really useful for Ind. I would say I would rather have the free gems from high luck, high turmoil, than I would just have a strict income increase from the high order. So I do kind of like going high turmoil, even though it does have downsides in terms of higher rest and all these other issues. I think the benefits outweigh the costs. And I put these guys here. The high income, you can afford your very expensive units like the Gog Reavers. With the Turmoil, you can get a bunch of your little cannibals. Though, as I said, it doesn't have to be that way. You can kind of make things work even with high turmoil. Let's talk about some god ideas. Here's a few ideas that I thought of. For the first one, going for a very big bless. This one I think is quite useful. I went with the Baphomet, who's a pretty good god. He's a level 4 god, one of the big kind of inanimate gods who can't really move around. I went with 8 fire, 7 astral, and 7 blood. And I went with this kind of bless here. Righteous Wrath and Blood Surge kind of work off of each other pretty well. Righteous Wrath is if an ally dies near the unit, he will get a buff. Blood Surge is if the unit kills an enemy, he will get a buff. So these kind of work together pretty well, and they can kind of like buff each other back and forth a little bit. Magic Weapons is really useful, and for all these gods, almost all of them, I took Magic Weapons because Magic Weapons is really useful for Ind. I think it's great for making your sacred troops have some more utility into the late game. By the time late game comes around, a lot of people start using like all these summons, all these ethereal units, and things like elementals, and having magic weapons makes dealing with those a lot easier. I also took superior morale just to kind of spend my last fire bless point. Also, having a bit more morale is nice, helps them stay on the field a little bit longer. And also blood vengeance, just because you're going to be recruiting a lot of sacreds. Having big armies of sacreds only, the fact that all these guys are also auto-blessed as well, meaning any kind of mage who's going to be throwing stuff at your army really has to think twice before they blow up a bunch of your troops, because they're going to blow themselves up as well. As for the scales, again, it went with high turmoil and everything else fairly neutral. You can't really afford that much with this bless. I did have to take him dormant, so I'm not even going to get these better incarnate blesses to later, but I think this is a pretty good god. You're not sacrificing too much in terms of, scales, but you still get a very strong bless out of this. The next one I wanted to look at was this one, the Netter of Crafts. So the reason I chose him is for going max production, which I think is also quite useful for you. It allows you to produce a lot more in your capital, though I tend to find I'm never really that pressed for resources in my capital. That I think this is a little bit unnecessary, though he does have a forge bonus, so it can be useful for crafting things later in the game. So I think he does have some use for this. I went with a very broad bless, covering lots and lots of little things. Attack skill, defense skill, precision, reinvigoration, superior morale, magic resistance, and magic weapons is the only incarnate thing. I took him imprisoned as well. I take fairly decent scales with him here. Like, these are all pretty good scales. So this is a pretty easy game, I think. I tend to find having a lot of little blesses is more useful for your sacred troops than having a few big blesses, because your troops are they're just not that strong, that even the best blesses are going to not benefit them that much. The biggest bless I took with Bahamut over here is Blood Vengeance, and that's more when they get killed, because they're still not very strong, so they will get killed. But at least when they do get killed, they will hurt the enemy in response. So this is pretty good as well. A few other options I chose. This is the one I went with here, the Devi of Fortune. And you can see I went with a very similar, very low-level bless, attack skill, defense skill, swiftness in this case, so they can move a bit faster, and strength of the earth. So this is a little bit more offensive focused than this one, which is more defensive, and also magic weapons as well. So I went with this one here, and again, fairly decent scales. I went with a bit higher growth here and a bit lower magic. Because all my mages are such amazing researchers, I think I can sacrifice magic more than growth, because growth will give me more income as the game goes on. And again, turmoil and luck will help maximize events and also good events. So that will kind of make up for the income lost from turmoil, and also give me lots and lots of bonus gems, which is really useful for Ind into the late game. The last god I thought of was more of an awake monster. This is something if you want to have a bit more power in the early game. A bit of a big bless, fire shield, hard skin, and superior morale. This really allows your sacred troops to just hold out on the field for a long time, and again cause a lot of damage in the meantime. So this makes them really meaty, really hard to cut through, and it makes them pretty chunky as chaff throughout the whole game. So I quite like this as well. And the scales are still not too bad. They're fairly close to neutral, but still mostly positive. So you'll still have a fairly decent game with this, I think. You're not sacrificing that much, and it is a pretty decent bless. And again, you get a very good awake monster. The Myrmicolion is a really powerful monster, and I think he's very useful to help expand the early game. But I think Ind doesn't really have that much problem expanding, so I don't think you really need to go with this. Now let's talk about a few strategies as Ind. The first most obvious strategy is Holy Spam. I mean, you have incredible access to Holy Threes and big priests. The Viceroy Primate is probably the holy priest you're going to be recruiting most often, because you recruit him in every single province with just a temple, and he's just a natural Holy 3, and also auto blessing as well. So a bunch of these guys together, plus maybe some Abbot Sages. You can get a bunch of these guys together with some of your other mages with a bit of astral, kit them in a communion and make some holy spam communions. Now the good thing about holy communions is that holy spells don't cost fatigue, so you can have some really inversed communions of just like a dozen guys communioned up to just 2 slaves, and they can cast all the holy spells they want, because again, holy spells don't cost fatigue, so it won't make the slaves tired out, and you can really spam all your smites or whatever else you want to spam out. So yeah, you can really do a lot of smite spam. You can do some ashes to ashes against undead, or like smite demon, or all kinds of things. So anybody playing undead or demons or anything is going to have a really hard time, because the holy spells can target a lot of those things. They can target sacred units, they can target undead, demons, and also just a generic smite. And one thing about smites is your specific smite spell will change depending on your highest path available. So let me go back to the gods specifically. So for example, looking at this one, the Devi of Good Fortune here, she has 5 astral. So astral is her highest magic path. That means my smite, if I take her as a god, will be Word of Power. Other options will be, if I have blood as my highest god path, I will get Claim Life. I'll get Syllable of Death with Death, and Word of Stone with Earth. And all of these 4 are the best smite spells. Specifically, Word of Power will have a paralyzed effect, which is quite good. Claim Life causes a chest wound, which is very brutal, especially for like elite units. Syllable of Death will have basically an insta-kill at times if it passes the magic resist. It does like basically 999 damage, which just means instant death. And Word of Stone has a petrify effect, which is also very useful as well. So all of these are like the best, I would say, smite abilities. So it's definitely worth considering going very high in one of these paths for your god, because it will give you a much better smite spell than just the generic one or some of the other paths with their smite. Let's also talk about Mind Hunt as a strategy. Now, Mind Hunting is something a lot of nations can do. Every Astral nation knows about Mind Hunting. Your Supreme Magus, your Supreme Abbot Maguses are great Mind Hunters. They can usually do it innately if you just give them a little bit of gear, give them like a Starshine skull cap or something, and they can start doing mind hunts pretty easily. And if you pair them up with an RL who's a healer, you can even avoid the issue of them getting feeble-minded from hitting an enemy. So they can be really, really useful like that. If you want to make them even more effective, you can give them a few penetration gear, a rune smasher, which just a little bit of buffing, you can create this pretty easily. Eye of the Void gives more penetration, and then also spell focus. All of these together can give them a huge amount of penetration, and the mind hunt can be very brutal. So you have a couple of these guys just mind hunting continuously, and if they get feeble-minded, it doesn't even really matter, because you can have an RL there to heal them up pretty quickly. So having a small core of these guys mind hunting just all the time can be very brutal. Next strategy is Blood, and Ind doesn't have any unique blood summons. The only one is the Lords of Civilization, but other than that, you're just stuck with the generic blood spells. So I'd recommend checking out my video on generic blood magic to look at some useful summons and things like that, because these are the things you're going to be using as Ind. Beyond that, you also have a few things now. Your Magog Bitch Mother is kind of your go-to blood caster. She's your highest level blood mage, so you're going to be casting most of your blood spells. And you can boost her even higher with things like Armor of Twisting Thorns to get up to like blood 4, and also Nature 2, because the nature bonus as well. And you can cast some pretty useful spells like this. For example, Horde from Hell, which is a remote attack, or Rain of Toads, or any of the other spells I mentioned in my blood video. I just like these two as remote attacks, because using these and Mind Hunt and things like Fires from Afar and all these kind of remote attacks you have available as Ind, you can really make things hell for like everybody else around you. Not to mention sending out your stealthy raiding parties who cause unrest in everybody's provinces. You can really turn an enemy kingdom into just an absolute hellscape by just using all your remote attacks, causing unrest, causing heresy, all kinds of just nasty things. So these can be really, really useful, and I kind of find it funny to use these kind of spells. Horde from Hell sends a group of imps and a devil to attack a province, and Rain of Toads causes a huge amount of unrest. Also causes Misfortune 3 and disease in the province, which is pretty useful to really hurt some province. Another useful thing about Blood is creating a lot of lifelong protections and soul contracts. You can start mass producing these pretty easily. The soul contract, you would need to buff up maybe like an Abbot Magus or something with blood magic to be able to make this, but I think lifelong protection is pretty good to mass produce. You can stick these in a lot of your raiders, and this will give them a small retinue of imps who will just follow them around and attack anybody around, so it's pretty useful. I mentioned with the Maleks, you can make lifelong protection for them, and it will make them much more useful as raiders. Soul contract will allow whoever holds it to create a devil every single turn, and devils are pretty good demon units, and getting them for free is nice. You can give these out to a bunch of your units, and you can basically just start mass producing free spawn devils. But again, you do need to buff somebody up to have fire and blood. So that's not an innate cross path you have. So you do have to find some troop who you can buff up with blood. But buffing blood is pretty easy. You can really easily empower one unit in blood and then use a few items to buff them a bit higher in blood as well. So I think this is kind of a non-issue. You can easily make a dedicated soul contract producer and then have him make soul contracts and then hand them out to some mages or whatever to start producing devils and such. So I think that's I do think it's a useful strategy. It's just another thing you have in your kind of, toolkit. Next is the strategy for fear spamming. Now, Magog Bitch Mothers are excellent spammers for a lot of these fear or panic-inducing spells. For example, a pretty good lineup you can have here, a pretty good lineup of spells you can have is casting Eagle Eyes first to improve your precision, then casting Terror a few times. Terror is pretty easy for you to cast with any of the level 2 death mages with a gem, or you can buff them up to level 3 with a skull staff or something to be able to cast Terror. So get them to spam Terror a few times, which causes a high level of fear in the enemy, and then at the end you can do Agony, which again causes a huge amount of fear in the enemy, and this can cause a panic by themselves. You can also do things like Blood Rain, which causes, again, a frightened effect over everybody, which lowers the morale, and also then just casting Panic, which is, again, pretty easy. So getting a bunch of these guys together to spam all these morale collapse spells can really cause a huge army to just run away. So this could be really useful as a strategy as well. Getting your Magog Bitch Mothers, kitting them up to become like a fear spam kind of little cohort there. Next one is Hordes. Again, your Magog Bitch Mother is great for casting a lot of Horde spells. Some useful ones are Creeping Doom and Swarm. These summon a big group of bugs. And one thing to note, if you are fighting in luck scales, which if you took the build that I mentioned, you could be. I went luck 3. You tend to get better bugs, like the higher level bugs, so that's pretty useful as well. But again, you could summon hordes of bugs really easily. Creeping Doom with level 3 nature is really easy to get since you can make Armor of Twisting Thorns for your Magog Bitch Mothers. That gets you to level 3 nature quite easily. And Swarm as well is also pretty easy for a lot of these guys to cast. Horde of Skeletons, again, any of your level 2 death Magog Bitch Mothers can cast Horde of Skeletons and do kind of skelly spamming. You also have access to Spirit Mastery, which summons a big horde of ghosts, and also summon imps, which is also quite useful as well. Just having a bunch of your Magog Bitch Mothers spamming all kinds of these things can be really damaging and funny, to be honest. So I would recommend just doing tons of hordes, getting a bunch of the Magog Bitch Mothers accompanying your army, just spamming crap like this, and that can be really useful as well. You also have spells like Howl too, which will cause wolves to spawn, is also quite easy for you to cast. Another strategy we'll look at is Darkness, and I mentioned before, it's really easy for you to cast Solar Eclipse. Your Maggot Supreme, if he can buff up his fire just by 1, so give him maybe a fire helmet or something to buff his fire up by just +1, and then he can very easily cast Solar Eclipse. He can also just cast this with an extra gem, or even just a communion. You can give him a couple communion slaves, he can cast this, no problem. So it's really easy for you to cast Eclipse, and if you do, it causes darkness over the battlefield, and with your Gog, Magog, Son of Phalian units, you can make use of that since they do have dark vision. So a bunch of these guys with Dark Vision 50, they have no problem dealing with the darkness, and you can take advantage of that to really hurt your enemy who doesn't have dark vision. Next one is Horror Spam. Now this is something I've not really tried much. I have tried the small horrors, but I think Ind is kind of a sleeper horror nation. For one, the Kentwell Shaman Chief does have the Blood Astral Crosspath, but I think you're better off going with the Abbot Magus and actually empowering him in blood, since again, getting blood is really easy, and empowering to blood 1 is so cheap, to be honest, in terms of blood slaves. And you get 1 or 2 of these guys to be empowered in blood, and then give them a little bit of gear to buff up their blood skill, and turn them into a very, very useful just horror spammer. Spamming lesser horrors is like no problem. Get him to blood 1, give him a little bit of gear to get to blood 3, and suddenly he can spam lesser horrors, no issue, for a very cheap price. A little bit more of a buff, and you can start sending horrors as well, and that could be late game if you want to buff up your horror spamming Magus. You could get him to start becoming a true horror spammer. So this could also be a very useful late game spell. Send horrors. Horrors are very deadly. They can easily take out a whole province by themselves and take out whole armies by themselves. So that is very, very useful. And I do think this is definitely a viable mid to late game strategy to start building up a little bit of a horror spam cohort once you have things available. And again, these kind of items like the Bloodthorn Brazen Vessel can very easily buff up a level 1 Blood Mage or an empowered Mega Supreme to become a level 3, level 4 Blood Mage. And you know, that's Ind. Ind is, as I said, a nation with many, many tools in its pocket. Not all of them are necessarily obvious in terms of what use they serve, but all of them are definitely situationally useful. And if you can kind of realize what situation you're in at the moment and what you should be using or what might be useful in that situation, Ind can be a very, very powerful nation. Ind is a nation that really requires a lot of practice, I think. It's very tiring as a nation because you have so many things going on to focus on, and sometimes it can be a little bit chaotic. So definitely it is a little bit exhausting and definitely one of the harder nations to play because of that, because of the amount of things you have to pay attention to. But it's definitely very rewarding and definitely one of the most unique nations in the game in terms of play style and just general theming and lore. So let's actually move on out of here into the test game I was playing. We'll talk a little bit more about Ind. Okay, so here we are back in my test game. Now, I've expanded quite a bit as in I'm at war with two nations at the moment, with Tianqi and with Marignon, and I wanted to focus on Marignon very quickly because I've taken off all of their nearby provinces around here. I've been fighting them for a little while, and what I'm trying to do is actually collapse their dominion on their capital. I have a ton of my Magog bitch mothers, again, who are heretics, just hiding here in their capital, and I have a bunch of my level 3 priests around here preaching around their capital to raise the dominion here and lower the dominion there as well. So their dominion's already pretty low. It may actually collapse within a turn or two. I'm going to take this province and totally surround them with my preachers, and that will hopefully collapse the dominion and be able to win a dominion victory over Marignon. So we'll see how that goes. I'm currently sieging the capital of Tianqi. I might have to send another army out here soon because I did lose one army to some group here. I think they also got destroyed, so maybe we don't have to worry too much. Though I know they have a big army in their capital still, at least I believe so I do have to worry about that. You can see most of my troops are just these sacred soldiers. I did summon a few random Chaffee units, these scorpions, but now I'm getting a few other units online because I finally got my conjuration leveled up. In terms of what research I went with, the first things I went with was getting my thaumaturgy up to level 2 just to be able to get Mind Burn and Communion Master, Communion Slave. Then I tried to focus mostly on Alteration, Conjuration to get some buffing spells and some summons available, and then also some Evocation as well to be able to make use of my pretty decent elemental mages. I have a lot of elemental magic, so making use of that is pretty good, and also getting some useful spells for Astral as well. For example, like Stellar Cascades is really useful for having a lot of fatigue damage and so on. So a lot of things that are quite good. I'm going for Conjuration, Alteration, Evocation. After that, I'm going to get Construction and then start going into Blood and Thaumaturgy a little bit more. But let's end the turn here. Not much else going on this turn. I got some things going on here. I got some blood hunting, though I have a lot of unrest in this province. I'm probably going to move these guys somewhere else and start blood hunting in a different province. And also I need to expand and take off some of these random little indie provinces as well, because I've kind of avoided them. You can see the way I expanded was very weird. That's because I tried to expand out to these highland provinces as soon as I could. So this is a highland here, and this is a highland here, and I wanted to just basically grab those very quickly. Also a fort making some of these giants. Now, as I said, the giants are not that useful because they have this homesickness, which means if they leave their province, they will lose 30% of their hit points every single month, which is really terrible. They are good units. They would be great thugs if they didn't have homesickness, but because of that, they're kind of not useful. I was recruiting a few of them because I wanted to get some with Astral and one with Earth, but I haven't been lucky with the Earth yet. So I don't know if I want to recruit too many because they're very expensive and they're gluttonous, so they're a little bit annoying to deal with, but whatever, it doesn't matter too much. I can easily kill them off by just marching them off somewhere so they die in some foreign province. But let's end the turn here. We'll see how things go with Marignon. Heretic spotted. Friend of Sailors has sensed location of one previously undiscovered throne. Okay, so underground. Call Malak. Cast Hurricane. I cast Hurricane on to Marignon. Call Malak again. I found some magic sites. Ancient Temple. Capture some slaves. Started to fort in Tianqi. And patrolling. Okay. So where was that ancient temple? Let me go look for that. Oh, sorry. Where was that? Let's go to Mega Supreme. Oh, he found this here, and yeah, he found the ancient temples. That's nice. I'm getting him just to go around and site search a little bit. Just check out all these provinces I've not really been to yet. I love these blood hunters. Let's unload all their blood slaves. So I'm not really blood hunting that much, but you see I am getting quite a lot of slaves. These guys are pretty good blood hunters. They have a chance to go blood 2, and blood 2 is already a very good blood hunter. So I'm using all the blood 2s to go out somewhere else and blood hunt, go out to Brightgate. Meanwhile, everyone else can stay here and blood hunt. Unrest is pretty low here. I'm going to send them out. Ooh, the unrest is really high here. So I'm going to send a few of these patrollers over to this province to patrol. Now I can actually blood hunt effectively in this province. And I'm going to have to send some more patrol units to another province as well. Let's also unload these guys' slaves. And I'm going to send somebody out here soon with a army. Now this guy should be done soon. I'm just making a bunch of these little militia guys to patrol. That way I can hopefully lower the unrest in this province and make hunting a little bit easier. Let's actually attack this province, and then I can hopefully have Marignon surrounded. So they're down to 1 candle. That means they may be on their last leg here a little bit. Let's move these guys around, start preaching. Again, just preach, totally surround Marignon and preach around them. Oh, a lot of these guys. Let's get all these guys to move down. We'll have them all start preaching here. Hopefully crush Marignon's dominion very quickly. I have this guy entering the site to train his troops. He has a bunch of troops with him. Let's actually have him. Oh, this is actually the wrong commander. I don't want him to be the leader. I did think I had another commander, but I guess I forgot. Maybe I don't. So I should actually take these guys away from him because I don't want him to be leading. He's not really a great commander. So let's take them away. I'll maybe recruit another commander in the meantime. Let's get this guy to research. And this guy can go do something. He doesn't need to enter site. Let's get him go over here and kind of help out. Let's actually recruit another commander while I'm here. Oh, I got a Magus coming next turn. So who can actually lead a lot of units? Okay, maybe I can send out 1 Magus leading a bunch of units because they can lead quite a lot. This guy can only lead 40, which is unfortunate. I would like a bigger army leader. I could send out my god, but I don't know if that's really worth it. Let's just send out one of these Maguses with a bunch of troops. Just to get these guys out of here and actually being useful. So we'll just move them out of here. With this guy, Carlos, can go join over Tenchi, and then we can get them to meet up as well. And this guy too. Now, have I researched any construction yet? No, I haven't. I'm still at Conjuration 4, so that's not too bad. That's not too good, I should say. I would like to get some things for this guy researched, but I don't know if he can be that useful at the moment. I do need a little bit of gear for him to be more useful. Let's get this guy to cast some spells. Let's cast a ritual. Maybe something like... what was the one I just did? Open Winter... No, I don't think I want to do that. I just used Hurricane. This is what I was looking for. Let's do a Hurricane on Tenchi. Again, just to damage their province a little bit, cause some unrest. Not much else I really want to do. What am I doing here? I'm recruiting another Malak here. This guy to research. Did he already search all these provinces? Let's get this guy to move out. I don't know what these guys are doing. I'm kind of forgetting. I need to remember all these little guys doing stuff. So here I'm just recruiting these guys. I'm also going to start getting some Gog Reavers. They're pretty expensive, but I'm going to start getting them in both of these Sanaphalian provinces. After this turn, I will get some there because I want this guy to have a bunch of just militia to patrol, and then I'll start getting Gog Reavers there. These guys, again, going out to Blood Hunt with these guys too. And I think I'm going to recruit another little commander to patrol as well. And we'll end the turn here. I don't know if there's much else I really want to do. Am I recruiting priests? I want to check each province, make sure I'm actually recruiting priests here. Okay, this one's recruiting priests. Let's actually give this guy a couple barbarians to go with him. Because he's moving there anyways. Which other provinces have a temple? Let's try to recruit some of these in these areas. Get as many of these level 3 priests as I can. These guys are so useful to have. Alright, so a lot of things happened. Conjuration construction researched. A battle in Perga. Okay, so they defeated that. That was not too bad. Okay. Beaten by defending forces. Ah, boy. These Ichthyids are so difficult to deal with. I don't know how they... Let's take a look at this. I don't know how they lose. They beat the barbarians so easily. Yeah, I don't know. So that sucks. Too bad. I guess their nets just, yeah, barbarians have really low morale. So I need to send more troops over there to deal with that. Okay, Shaman Chief was able to deal with that too. Destroying the fort in Tenchi, not too bad. Actually, event in Tenchi. Wold. Pergia. Enchanted Spear gained, not too bad. And this guy should be site searching. I might put that guy in auto site search. I don't really want to babysit him and send him around. What else can we do here? Geez, Marignon is just holding on barely. If I can take this province and surround them, that'll help a lot. I have a lot of barbarians. Let's just send like 2 big armies of barbarians in here, to be honest. That should be enough to deal with this, for real. Like, this should be enough to deal with these stupid little fishmen. Let's get these guys both doing some smites. Yeah, both these guys can just cast smite and stuff. Maybe I can get them to do also some... I can do fanaticism? No, let's do... what else do I want to do? Sermon of Courage? Let's get them to do Sermon of Courage a few times. Yeah, that'll be good. That way they can hopefully get these guys a bit more morale, because they're really low morale and they tend to run very easily. So get those 2 to go in. These guys can all preach. Let's get these guys to preach here. And you can also preach here too. Let's get everybody to preach. Yeah. Everyone can start preaching in every one of these little provinces. And we'll get all these guys to surround. We got all the heretics here as well. And these guys hopefully can finally take these stupid little fishmen. Okay, not much going on here. I'm actually going to get this guy, my Mega Prophet. This guy's level 4 holy. I'm going to get him to preach right on top of Tenchi. Hopefully I can lower the Dominion in their province. Let's actually get all these guys. Actually, no, because I need them all to be sieging, right? So not preaching. Let's just get this guy to preach. That'll be enough. I'll get this level 3 guy to move in there and start preaching as well. And these guys are all level 2, so they can just kind of do their own little business. Let's actually buff up the patrollers in these areas so I don't get jumped by Tenchi again. What I may do also is build some temples in these areas. I do have a lab here. Oh, that means I can actually recruit some little cannibal chieftains. So let's get maybe... Oh, I don't have enough money. So maybe next turn I might build some temples around here. That way I can also put pressure. And what I should do as well, I have a temple here, a temple here, a temple here. I'm going to build a temple right here, and that could totally surround Marignon and make it very brutal for them. All right, not much else going on. Let's get you to do something. What else can you do? Let's see. I don't have many other useful spells at the moment. I do have other things as well. I do have elementals unlocked now, which is good. Maybe we'll get another Malek. Yeah, let's get one more. Actually, I'm going to have my god research here for now, because she's a good researcher. Let's get one of these other guys to summon a Malek. One of these guys not doing anything. It's good. And once I get a bit higher construction, I can start making some gear for these Maleks and make them hopefully a bit more useful as well. More helpful for me. Now, what do I actually have? Let me check what I have available to actually produce. Let's see if any of these guys... Forge magic item. You can't forge anything right now. Oh, I only have like level 2 construction. So not very much available. This guy patrolling. You should all be blood hunting, right? You patrol as well. Let's get one of these patrollers to move over here too, so I can get lower this unrest. This unrest is so high, crazy amount. Okay, let's get this guy to move out. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Let's get him move here, because I need to lower the unrest in this province. Get these guys to move back out again. And this guy can move in with his militias to hopefully go patrol that area. Alright, pretty good. Just kind of checking everything around. I do need to build a few more forts. One of these forest provinces I would like to build a fort in. I don't really see any forests nearby that are useful. I could build a fort right here. This looks like a good plot, but the unrest is so high, and I've been using it for blood hunting. It might be better to go somewhere like right here instead. That might be a better spot for building a fort. Pretty good income and such like that, so maybe I'll build one there. That way we can get some other kind of generic units. So maybe next turn I can build a fort there. I'll see about it. Let's end the turn here. Okay, search there. Nothing found. Some blood hunters. Battle here. Okay, finally took that province. That's great. In Persia, our forces defeated the attacking Tenchi units. Assassination again. Yeah, okay, what are the expected? Some blood slaves, some gold. And some scales, which are not great. Okay, but I got some gems too, which is nice. Sun grows dim, constant darkness, which is not great, but I can recruit more of my GOG units. Ooh, I'm so low on income. Damn, I gotta be careful what I'm even recruiting here. Let's get this guy to hold out here. Let's also give him some kind of setup here. Okay, let's get these guys here. I'm gonna get this guy to go to pick up all the units in these little areas, and this army can move in and actually attack there. Patrol here. You know what? I should build a temple there, or sorry, a lab here that'll make it easier to drop off my blood slaves. But I guess it doesn't really matter too much. I also want this guy to blood hunt. Everybody should be blood hunting, to be honest. No researchers here. Yeah, this is the blood hunting province. So all these guys are gonna be blood hunting. And let's actually, instead of recruiting, okay, we'll get one more next time. So let's wait for that guy to come in, and then I'll maybe get another little commander. Let's get another commander here, and we'll send him down. Oh, I don't have any money. I forgot about that. Jeez, what am I recruiting? I'm recruiting so many things. Let me check some of these provinces to make sure I'm recruiting everywhere. Let's dump a few of these guys, because I do need some of the money. Okay, let me check some of these provinces here and make sure I'm not recruiting anything. I don't really want to recruit anything else. So now everything's good. Let's get these guys to start preaching here. And maybe if I can get a little bit, we'll get one of them to build a temple as well. Let's dump this guy as well. Okay, that's enough. Let's get one of these guys to build a temple here. We can totally surround Marignon. Marignon is going to get crushed by my Dominion very, very soon. They're already kind of running out of time there, I think. And I may even pop some troops right on top of them. They got like an army of independent units there. So whenever I can get an army down here, I can hopefully destroy them. But I think the heretics will kind of make up for that pretty easily. Okay, let's get this guy to also go here. This guy can stay here. He can preach here, and he has a natural unrest reduction. So if I leave him here, he will naturally reduce unrest, which is pretty nice. Let's get all these guys to blood hunt. There we go. And yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's everything I'm doing. I need. All right, just have to deal with these two places, Tinchi, and then this guy as well. What kind of spells can this guy cast? Can he cast anything useful for me at the moment? Baleful Star, Arcane Probing. Not much I really want to do now. I do want to get my construction up to use the Maleks, but not really a big issue at the time being. Oh, these guys are stealthy, however. I forgot about that. So let's actually send a few of these Maleks over to Marignon, and we'll have them start preaching there. Stealthy preaching. That way I'm not only introducing heresy into their province, but I'm also preaching there. Now these guys are only level 1 priests, but that's more than enough to cause some trouble there. So I'll actually have them do that. That'll be kind of nice. Let's end the turn here. Alright, let's see a lot of stuff here. Blood Hunters did pretty well. Battle here. Okay, forces defeated them. Another assassination. And a few more unexpected events. Barbarians caught. Barbarians, Abbot Mega seen an important event coming. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't mention previously is that all of these guys, the abbots, have Fortune Teller. So even though I did take high luck, it's totally viable in this game to play it as a misfortune nation, because you're not really losing out that much from taking misfortune scales. Let's give this guy all of these units. We'll have him go pick them up, and then he can join the army over here. Okay, so all these guys preaching. Let's get this guy to preach as well. We got temples everywhere. We got guys preaching everywhere. Let's get all of these guys to preach too. Hide and preach. Yeah, Marignon's gonna be done soon. If these guys are getting heresy, these guys are preaching everywhere, that's gonna be pretty rough for them. What else do I want to do? Let's see. Here I'm recruiting a lot. Oh, what am I not? I'm not even recruiting. What the heck? I do want to recruit. Okay, I don't know. I guess I automatically dumped the recruitment, which is not great. I don't want to do that. Let's do repeat recruitment. I should be recruiting all the time, so that's a good thing I noticed that. I don't want to be losing my recruitment. Oh, this guy is stealthy too. Let's get this guy to move to Marignon as well. This guy's a level 3 priest, but he's also stealthy, so I'll get him to move to Marignon. He can start preaching as well with these guys, and hopefully they will collapse soon. Their dominion will collapse. Let's end the turn here. Not much else I'm really doing at the moment. Get this one to cast another ritual. You know what? I'm going to get a few more summons to help fill up my armies a little bit. Just for fun, because I have a ton of earth gems. I'm going to get some clockwork units. Maybe Crusher Construction and some clockwork horrors. I know they're not great, but it's just kind of funny. Do I have any other guys with level 2 at least of earth? No, I don't. Okay, I think I sent them out to join the army over here. One of these guys I sent somewhere. I don't know where I sent him. But I sent somebody out who has a level 2 of... oh, did I search Majesty here already? I did. Let's search these provinces too. I don't think I searched everywhere yet. So let's search all these other ones. Alright, so let's end the turn here. This guy can patrol. That's good. That'll hopefully cut the unrest here while I'm blood hunting everything. Get this guy to move over here as well. In this province, let's stop recruiting the priests. I don't really want to do that. Let's start getting more of the Gog Reavers. And then also, if I can afford it, which I can't. So I'll just get these guys for now. Actually, you know what? Let's get a few more of these little priests to research. And then just a couple Gog Reavers. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let's end the turn here. Getting a bunch of Gog Reavers here as well. Oh, here's a guy with 2 of earth. That's pretty good. So maybe I can use him for something later. But let's end the turn here. Okay, a lot of things. I cast Clockwork Horrors. Slaves battle here, which they lost. A battle where in the Force of the Lost, which I won pretty easily, yeah. Not many units there. And another assassination, which I beat them. A battle against barbarians, which again I beat pretty easily. And just tons of things. Lots of unexpected events. Holy hell, look at this. Bad events too. Assassination attempt. Growth income, good. Unrest, bad. Well, that's not my province, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so a lot of things happening. And I still haven't won against Marignon yet. Right now there's 1 Dominion left. That's brutal. But pretty soon, I've got their province surrounded by my Dominion. I got these guys preaching there. I don't think I even need to invade them. I think it's just going to collapse on its own. It's going to fall apart, to be honest. Okay, patrolling here. Let's get one of you guys to go. What are you guys doing? Let's search for magic sites as well. Oh, what I may do, I forgot about this. What I may do is have this guy, since he's standing on a temple province, let's see if he can cast any kind of rituals here that might be useful for me. Can he summon anything that would be helpful? Maybe some ogres. I would like Cyclops Tribe. I want something to give me a little bit more siege strength. I think ogres have siege strength, but I'm not really sure if I remember if they do or not. Let's just do it anyways. We'll get a couple ogres while this guy's standing here. I don't think anyone else can do anything that useful. Am I at construction level 4? So very soon we get construction 5. I'll be able to start building some new stuff. Let's actually see what I can make. Can I make anything useful? Now, what I would like to get is a lifelong protection. I think that's at level 5, so I can't get it yet. So let's keep waiting. If I can get a few lifelong protections, some shields and things like that, that'll be quite nice. I'm actually going to start making some gear for my Malaks, and then I can hopefully summon a few more of them. Something pretty simple. I don't know, just like a shield and a weapon, maybe some simple armor. Like maybe this one, the lion pelt, could be pretty useful. They already have invulnerability. I don't know if invulnerability stacks, to be honest. Maybe it does, but I'm not really sure. Well, let's make one of them. We'll make one. And then I will also make maybe some kind of weapon for them. Some kind of one-handed weapon. And maybe I'll wait till level 5, because once I get to level 5, I'll get some better ideas and stuff. So I'll get some better equipment available. Let's cast a ritual spell here. Let's have this one cast something. I'm going to have her... let's keep doing Clockwork Horrors. That'll be kind of nice. Alright, that's pretty good. Everyone's researching or doing some kind of little business. Who else can do something? Let's get you to maybe summon a Malak as well. Let's get a few Malaks. Now, blood. I do want to get higher level blood. If I can get to blood 5, it'll give me Reign of Toads, Send Lesser Horror, and a few other useful things too, which will be quite nice. Getting a little bit higher blood and eventually up to blood 9 to get Release Lords of Civilization and also Send Horror will be pretty nice. And also even Bind Demon Lord. But that's a lot harder to get up to those really, really big blood spells. Okay, let's end the turn here. I think that's going pretty good. Okay, research into this one. Blood magic, cast horrors, no magic sites, a lot of blood mages. Battle here, which again failed. Alright, so not too much going on here. Tenchi is almost gone, and a bunch of brigands are killed. Okay, geez, Marignon is still holding on. Oh boy. I might see if I can knock them out soon. Now they're being sieged by some kind of independent army, so they don't even have an army there to deal with. Let's, oh, I don't need any money at all. Oh well, let's see this. Let's give this guy a few ogres. Hopefully get a few more siege, a bit more siege strength. Yeah, let's get you guys to go back and drop off your slaves again. This guy can just preach. Alright, so pretty good. Get these guys to all do their little business, you know. I should send around some armies to take off some of these random indie provinces, but I've been kind of lazy with my armies, just sending them out to whatever places. I am going to recruit... Oh, I totally forgot that I wasn't recruiting anything here. Let's do that quickly. It's a big problem, to be honest. So I've been recruiting nothing there for like turn after turn. When am I recruiting any of these provinces? Let's kind of cut down some of my recruitment in these places. Let's cut down some of the Gog Reavers, that way I can afford another Abbot Magus. Okay, there we go. So let's start recruiting more of those guys. We'll send out another little force of the Gog Reavers pretty soon as well. Actually, right here, if I have enough income, let's see if I can recruit a Magog leader. Let's get a Dogfather. I can barely afford him. He's just a Blood 1 mage, but that's fine. Let's get a Dogfather, and then I'll have him meet up with these guys too. Let's send these guys with my little cannibal leader. He can lead them up there in one more turn. Yeah, okay. So let's send them up there with these guys. They can meet up and then go fight some of these little indie provinces, I guess. All right, let's end the turn here. I'm so low on money. Again, Marignon, sorry, as Ind, you're just suffering for cash. All right, blood magic research, very good. I'm leveling up blood magic very quickly. Fortification is breached. Okay, consort killed. A lot of stuff going on here. Let's try to attack Dinchi. I think we have enough forces here. Now let's actually send the scorpions in first. I'm going to move all these guys back. I don't really have enough of a mage army here to make use of this that much. I hope this is enough, but I don't really know, to be honest. It's going to be tough because they're going to have their god here, I think. Let's send these guys way in the back. Mirror guards can go over here. Some soldier priests over here too. And this group, I guess we can put also kind of in the back here. Okay, and these guys can just do whatever. They don't really matter that much. I'll throw them way in the back to kind of bait stuff. And again, these guys can just run in. Hopefully poison them or do some damage there. We'll see if this works out. I don't know. We'll try this. Let's actually set up a little bit more of some magic for some of these guys. Now, they don't really have any gems. I forgot to pick up gems for these guys. Let's get this guy to cast something useful. Light of the Northern Star could be useful. Oh, but I need gems. I forgot to grab gems, so that's the big problem. You know what? Maybe what I will do is I'll wait one turn, and I can teleport gems to these guys. Let's get you to teleport some gems. Let's send them a few Astral Pearls. Do I have teleport gems? Oh, I don't. Damn it. I didn't research Thaumaturgy enough to get teleport gems. So that's too bad. Damn, that's something really useful that I would like to have. But that's too bad that I don't have it. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. We don't really need magic. I think we should be able to take Tenchi without too much heavy magic. We'll just have to rely on whatever we have, which is limited. But, you know, it's fine, I guess. Astral Geysers. Let's do something. Let's see what we can do with these guys. Okay, let's get this guy to buff himself a little bit. Do something like Temper Flesh. And then I guess he can do just Stellar Cascades, I guess. I don't really know what else he could do without any gems. Or Bigger Communion, but this is fine. He can do whatever, to be honest. Something kind of useful is okay. There we go. Everyone else, we'll get them all to do some holy spells. Level 3 guys, they can do Word of Power, that's good. Summon of Courage, Word of Power, that's great. Alright, great. That's everyone doing something useful, so that's pretty useful. Let's end the turn here. Marignon still holding on. Just keep waiting here. Not much else to really do. Okay, let's send another big group of barbarians down here to join up and preach here. Oh, this guy, I forgot about him. Let's move him in there and we can preach inside their capital with this little buddy. Dominion's getting really high here. There must be a lot of Dominion pressure on this province, to be honest. But because it's their capital, it's hard to break in there. Let's end the turn. Okay, battle in Gol Amrod. Okay, against Independence. Battle in Perugia. Tenchi Breach. Oh, I forgot to even attack Tenchi. Oops. Let's do that. That's what I forgot to do. Let's storm the castle, yeah. Okay. Storm the castle with these guys. Oh, they only have one Dominion left. You know what? I wonder if I can just... let's preach the teaching of God. Let's get all these guys to preach while they're here. I got a lot of big priests here. And maybe I can even move my God there. Let's see if I can get her to go out here. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be crazy. Okay, I almost got Blood 5. Let's get up my Thaumaturgy a little bit. I want to be able to get Teleport at level 4. And Teleport item, Soul Slay. Let's get up to level 5 so I can get Soul Slay, because that'll be nice for using some useful things. Then I'm going to start getting my Conjuration a little bit higher, up to level 6 to get Hashmal. And then maybe some of these other ones can go up. What else can go up next? Don't know if I really want to go that much higher in Evocation. Alteration, maybe. I mean, there's some useful things here. Could be useful. Control, I don't know. I think I'm actually going to go for enchantment, maybe. I haven't got any enchantment yet. Maybe I should get a little bit of it, just to kind of even things out. Let's get a couple there, like 3 enchantment for now, and then maybe go higher in blood. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's just end the turn there. This guy's also blood hunting. I kind of need to remember about these little guys. I have so many blood slaves. I need to find a way to actually use them. I should be using them for something. Actually, I guess now I can use them for something because I do have a lot of slaves now and I do have some blood researched. So let's actually get some of these guys. Let's get some of these Magog bitch mothers to be able to do something. Maybe we'll get these guys. They all have blood slaves on them. We can maybe send them out somewhere to combat or do something. Let's see, what can I do? What kind of rituals can I do? I do any kind of useful summons? Nothing that nice. Bone Fiend, Summon Fiend. Nothing I really like. Maybe I'll save my, I'll save things for later. I'll save my slaves for later. Because there's nothing that great I can do with blood right now that I really want to spend on. Maybe summoning fiends would be okay because they're stealthy. I could do that. Let's actually get this guy, right? I was getting too many of the Gogfathers. I don't want to get too many of those guys. Let's actually stop getting Gogfathers. Let's get bitch mothers again. And a few Gog Reavers. I remember I wanted to have the Gogfather leading a bunch of these guys out. So let's get him to lead these guys out. To meet up with somebody. This guy. Yeah, let's get these guys to actually wait. Let's wait one turn. Because he will move out in about a turn. And they will meet up together and go cause some trouble there, you know? Alright, let's get these guys to actually move out of here and go into this province to blood hunt again. This guy can wait one turn and we'll both attack these kind of little indie provinces around here. This guy and then the Gogfather. And this guy's actually a blood 2. That's not too bad. I can actually have him bind fiends. Maybe I can just have him do that. Let's have him do that like every month. He can just sit here and bind fiend. That'll be good. Get some fiends coming in. And get this guy to do something too. What can he do? He can make something. Whip of Command. Lifelong Protection. Nice. I should make that actually. I need to be blood level 2. Actually, you know what? Let's get this guy, instead of summoning fiends, which is not that useful, let's get him to start producing lifelong protections, which is what I really want. And this guy can just, I don't know, search for magic sites. Why not? I don't know if I've searched this province. I definitely have searched it with blood. Let's get actually some of these guys to search. They should be searching around here, so I get some death sites coming in. Get more death gems, because I really am lacking death and nature gems. Well, let's end the turn here. Ooh, this guy's got tons of wounds. What the heck is going on there? Let's end the turn. Oh, this guy's here. Let's get him preach as well. We need to kill Marignon with this Dominion. And we may be able to kill Tenchi as well. He's got barely anything going on here. Dominion is really, really struggling. Okay, found something there. Alright, good. Lots of sites there. Oh, wait, we defeated Tinchi? Okay, we did. Alright, that's nice. Uh-oh, so they're repairing the fort in Tinchi. Jeez, a lot of events. So many events. A lot of gems, which is nice. Oof. Oh, wait, I got my Dominion on their province, and I still haven't won? What the heck? Whatever, let's just go back to sieging. I don't know what else to do there. That's kind of dumb. Let's get this guy to preach, and then everyone else can just siege. I thought if I have that on their capital, then they will just instantly lose, but I guess not. Oh well. Maybe it's the last fort. This guy's still holding out. Marignon's still barely holding on, but whatever. We got all these guys here waiting. For like whenever we can do it, you know? Whenever we can go attack. Okay, all these guys are preaching. What I may do is get some of these guys, they're preaching a lot. Let's get some of these guys to, this guy can preach. Let's get some of these guys to mobilize heathens. Let's do that, that'll be good. Get a few more troops in here, just whatever, kind of random troops. Okay, not too bad going on here. Not much else going on. I'm really low on income at the moment. Okay, let's get these guys to meet up, link up here. Yeah, these guys link up together. These guys can go back to blood hunting. And we'll send some of these guys to do some whatever things later. Now, this Malak, I'm going to give him a lifelong protection. Let's give him some of this gear. Some random gear that I found. We'll just give it all to him. That's pretty good. And we'll send him over to Marignon to maybe just keep an eye on him a little bit. I wonder if I can actually send him out to Old Man Mountains. Can he fly that far? I guess not. Let's send him to Marignon. He can go preach and then just cause some trouble there. Alright, let's end the turn again. Okay, fortification is breached. Oh boy, I still don't see anything going on. Battle in Persia. Okay, they finally beat that force there. We beat these Indies here. Scout attacked by this one. And Scout attacked here. Okay. The god of Marignon has been permanently vanquished. Okay, so yeah, my dominion did not touch a single province. Great. So I destroyed Marignon. Marignon is just an independent province now. So let's actually attack them with all these barbarians. I don't know if I can actually defeat this. Okay, word of power, word of power. Let's get all these guys in. Hopefully that's enough to defeat this little army of Indies here. I don't know if that can. Well, we'll see soon enough, you know? I got my god moving out here. Where did my god go? Did she die? Please tell me she didn't die, right? Oh yeah, she's here. Okay. So my god is here. This army is a big issue. Ugh. Let's just attack. Let's storm the castle. And you can storm the castle too. And you can also storm the castle. And let's get her to do something useful. What kind of spells can she cast here? A lot of things would be useful if I had gems, which I don't have. I can incinerate spam, I guess. I don't know. Iron Skin. Maws the Earth. Shatter. I don't even know what Tinchi's god is. Let's do just Iron Skin a few times. And then maybe, like, Gifts from Heaven, I guess? I don't know. Let's do that, I guess. Whatever else, just do that a few times. Spam this. Yeah, sure. I don't really know what else to do with her. Just get her to do something. Sit in the back and just spam shit. Okay, let's see if that... And then we have to deal with this army here, because this is a big problem. And I may have an army ready soon. Oh, quite a lot of guys here. Let's... oops, I'm not even recruiting anybody. Let's get a leader. Jeez, I'm so limited on money. Am I... anywhere I can, like, get some more money, please? Yeah, let's take these out. I need to get more provinces, because I'm so limited on income at the moment. Is that enough to recruit one of these guys? Okay, get one commander here. That should be enough to be able to buff this up a little bit. Well, we'll see, and pretty soon we'll see. Let's see, I'm going to take out Tinchi, and then Marignon's already kind of done. And I think I'm going to end this video here after that. I'm not going to continue to conquer everybody, but you kind of get the gist of what Ind is all about. I do want to get some more blood production going. So what I would like to do is actually do a few more spells if I can. I want to build... Let's actually create some things to buff my blood a little bit. First of all, what is the first thing I can do for blood? Heartfinder Sword? No. I could make this, but I need blood 3 to make this. So I do need one of these guys to have a blood 3. Blood 3 nature 2. I could make a thistle mace. Let's actually do this, because that'll help get some of these guys. If I get one of them with a blood 3, then I can buff up his nature to be nature 2, and then I can make the whatever I'm looking for. I can make the thorns, the armor of twisting thorns. Let's see what other magic items I can make. I do need to get a bit higher in my research here, because I'm pretty limited on what items I have. Heart of Life. What kind of blood buffers do I have? I don't think I have anything really useful at the moment. Brazen Vessel. I need blood 5 for that, which is too far out of my range at the moment. So I think I need to work my way up. I need blood 5 for armor of souls as well. Armor of Twisting Thorns is the easiest to get, but I need to keep recruiting the Magog Bitch Mothers. Do I have any that are blood 3? No, so unlucky with getting these guys, honestly. I have a few over here that are blood 3, and that's it. Let's actually send these guys home. They're not really useful anymore. Actually, you know what? Let's attack current province and get all of these guys to also attack. This guy can... Let's get this guy to go home. Let's get these guys to go home. Actually, you know, let's get this guy to attack too. Attack current province, and I'm going to send this guy home. Let's get him out of here. Do something else. Okay, that's pretty good. Everything there. Let's get all these guys to attack. I mean, I don't really know what they're doing. They're just going to do whatever. Let's get these guys to cast spells. I don't know what spells, just whatever, to be honest. This is just against some random indies, so I don't care too much about it. I had a little bit of an issue with my recording at the very end of this video, but I'm just going to kind of summarize what's happening and also give some final thoughts on the nation of Ind. Just to summarize, we were able to defeat Tinchi's forces, as well as take the abandoned capital of Marignon. Beyond that, we also got a little bit higher research in blood and a few other key areas, and my main goal, if I was going to continue this game, would be to really ramp up my blood economy. Blood economy is already quite strong as it is, but I would really want to ramp that up with tons more Magog bitch mothers and more cannibals, maybe a few other provinces producing cannibals to blood hunt as well, get them some blood hunting gear like dowsing rods, and really maximize my blood income to start getting lots and lots of demons and things out, because that would be a really strong late game power play, as well as really leaning into some more advanced thaumaturgy and other kind of spells like mine hunting and things like that. Leaning into the Astro and Blood are really what you should be doing as Ind, because these are kind of your two biggest strengths as a nation. Definitely as the game goes on, the elemental things tend to wear off a little bit, and you're not really a very strong elemental nation anyways, but you should really think about Ind when you're playing as a strong astral nation with a big blood economy. Even though you don't have any big blood casters, it's very easy to buff up a couple of your mages, either the ones that already have blood magic or the ones that don't have any. It's very easy to buff a couple of them up to be decent blood mages. So it's not something you don't have access to. So again, just to sum up the nation of Ind, you're a nation that has a lot of tools available to you. You have lots of tricks up your sleeve that you can take advantage of. But again, it's a very complex nation. It's not easy to play. And I've definitely had games where I just feel honestly exhausted at playing. It's not as bad as some of the pop kill nations like Urmor, where after a while you kind of just don't want to play anymore because it's so much detail you have to pay attention to. But it does reach to that level of meticulousness you need to have to be able to play the nation if you really want to make use of everything you have. If you just want to play a very basic game, I think Ind is not a good nation for that. You just don't have the reliability of some other nations that are able to play a very straightforward progression where they just go from their basic troops to their big mages and then something like Astral or Blood at the very end, which is very obvious. Ind doesn't have that really easy ramp up. You kind of have to play a lot of games at the same time and think about a lot of different end games. And I think the way you would win as Ind is again maximizing your abilities and also setting up something to hopefully maybe teleport some level 3 priests around, or getting many big armies out there with lots of, for example, blood summons or something else accompanying them to travel around and basically take over different thrones. So there's a lot of options you have available to you. A lot of ways you can play Ind. Even the ways I highlighted here are definitely not the only ways. You can really do all kinds of things with it. But it's a very interesting nation. It's very fun to play and fun to learn as well because it does have so many options available. You can kind of play it in so many different ways to make it best for you. But again, it's a very difficult nation, but rewarding to learn. So I definitely recommend you trying this if you want to play a new game. And actually, I'm going to be starting a new multiplayer game soon playing as Ind. So depending on how that goes, I might upload some videos from that. But I'll see in the future if I'm going to upload any kind of Ind multiplayer series. So far, I've been kind of like pretty bad when it comes to recording and uploading multiplayer games for Dominions. I think it's because, multiplayer games are a little bit hard to tell what's going on. Sometimes I get a little bit tired of the game or I have things going on, so it's hard to continue or hard to really take it too seriously as I wish I could have. Something comes up in my real life and it's hard to really follow up with the game. And once you lose a couple turns, it kind of feels like you're in this position where you're just like in a downward spiral. So it kind of gets demoralizing a little bit. I will try to upload this one. I think if it kind of goes well and it's interesting, I'll upload it and try to make it into something a little bit more video friendly, viewer friendly, I should say. So it's not just like boring looking at like, this is this turn, this is that turn. I will try to make it a little bit more interesting like that. But either way, guys, I'll see you guys again next time and hope you guys will follow and like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be talking more about Dominions and of course, lots of other games as well. So see you guys again next time.